President Trump ramping up the pressure campaign on Iran-backed Houthi rebels. He vows they will be completely annihilated, as he put it, as American airstrikes continue to pound locations under their control. Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins us this morning. Great to see you, General. Let me ask you this. Do you think Tehran will be deterred by Trump's threats?
Well, I think it's his actions that are really making a difference here, Ashley. This is the most consequential attacks that are on the Houthis since they began to attack the ships in the Red Sea back on October the 19th, 23. And let's face it, I mean, they have been successful. They have shut down 70, 80% of the Suez Canal shipping. And they have, I mean, for months, no U.S. warship has dared go through the Suez Canal. Think of that. Even the United States Navy has been impacted by this. So this is an air campaign. They've done 89 strikes to date, and they're going to continue it. And the fact that he's going to hold Iran accountable is really the issue, Ashley.
Yeah.
The CENTCOM commander, who is currently serving, during the Biden administration, he recommended when the Houthis were attacking and Iran's proxies in Iraq and Syria were attacking our bases, he recommended over 120 targets inside of Iran, Ashley, all military targets, nothing to do with economics and oil, nothing to do with nuclear enterprise, just to punish Iran and achieve deterrence. I think that's got to be on the table here with the president. He's implying it is when he says, I'm going to hold you accountable if you continue to supply them. So, yes, I think we're going to see some deterrence achieved here. It may take some time. The Houthis were at war for 7 years with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before a ceasefire. And they were willing to, and they figured out how to sustain an air campaign that was aggressively conducted against them. They do a lot of their business underground, and we don't have people on the ground to figure out where everybody is. It's more challenging to target, but I think we'll get there.
Very good. And talking of Iran, President Trump reportedly sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, Khomeini. It included apparently a 2-month deadline for reaching a new nuclear deal. How likely, General, do you think that is? And do you think Iran will even come to the table on it?
Well, first of all, Iran is back on their heels in a way they haven't been in 44 years. They've lost, Hezbollah and Hamas are nearly decimated. They've lost their major strategic platform in Syria. They don't have any air defense systems to protect their leadership as well as their nuclear enterprise and their remaining rockets and missiles. So they are very vulnerable, and they know it. What do they have left? They have the pursuit of a nuclear weapon. If they can get it to achieve deterrence is what they're after. So I doubt if they're going to give it up voluntarily. This is coercive diplomacy. The president wants to try this first, give them the opportunity to voluntarily dismantle it by a date certain, verify it with independent inspectors, and he has plainly told them, if you don't do that, then we'll take consequential action. What does that mean? Israeli-led, U.S.-supported airstrike to destroy the nuclear enterprise as much as possible. So those two options are on the table. Diplomacy first, military action second.
I've got to get your input on this. Ukraine's President Zelensky backing a ceasefire agreement on energy targets during what he called a friendly call with President Trump yesterday. You know, General, are they close to a full ceasefire deal with Russia, or for that matter, even to an end to the war?
Well, certainly President Putin said no to what you just suggested, a full ceasefire, 30-day, no conditions. But here's what I'm encouraged about. There is a process, Ashley, and it is a peace process, and it's moving. So our national security teams and negotiating teams are meeting with the Russians in Jeddah. They're also meeting with the Ukrainians in a separate room. And both of them both parties, Ukraine and Russia, are laying out their conditions, laying out their terms, laying out their expectations. And these negotiating teams will try to resolve those differences. That is a peace process by any definition. Yes. I think all of us have a healthy skepticism, Ashley, about whether Putin is really in this to achieve a peace agreement. without laying down some impossible conditions. That remains to be seen, but we're going to find that out because we're talking to his people.
We are.
So, yes, we have a peace process going forward, and hopefully we're able to get to an end state where there is a peace agreement. We'll see.
We will indeed. I got one more for you, General. Canada says China executed 4 Canadians in China on drug-related charges. Canada calling the move shocking and inhumane. All 4 people were dual citizens. China does not recognize dual citizenship. China pushing back on the criticism, urging Canada to respect the rule of law. What do you make of all that?
Well, China doesn't recognize dual citizenship, but you can understand that from the Canadians' perspective, one, no capital punishment in Canada whatsoever. 2, here, being executed for a drug-related charge is something that wouldn't happen in the United States, obviously, unless there was capital murder or some other heinous crime associated with it. And then, of course, there's no due process in these court systems for those who are accused. What is beneficial about this, and other countries should join in, is putting a spotlight on the oppression that exists in China. We don't do enough of this, Ashley. The Chinese are very sensitive to it, and we should expose it over and over again. I believe both administrations, Republican and Democrats, and now another Republican, can do much more of this because it is their Achilles heel. They feel, they fear their own population rebelling against them than they do the United States. And that has been the history of the PRC and the Chinese Communist Party for years.
As always, terrific stuff. We'll have to leave it there. General Jack Keane, General, thank you so much. We covered a lot of ground. Appreciate it.